Assalamualaikum and good evening. You're now with me, Yusuf Shukri, for TVS Nightline. We begin with this story. The Sarawak government is pouring an extra 136.2 million ringgit in financial aid to shield residents from the global economic fallout of the West Asia conflict. Premier Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg says the funding surge will bolster the 2026 Sarawak Basic Needs contribution, delivering a direct lifeline to nearly 900,000 households and seniors across the region.
SKAS 2026 kepada isi rumah, warga emas dan individu bujang yang layak seperti berikut. Isi rumah kadar sekarang ialah 950. Kita naikkan dengan jumlah RM150, maka jumlah baru yang diterima mereka untuk isi rumah RM1,100. Untuk warga emas, kadar sekarang 500 akan kita naikkan dalam kadar RM100. Jumlahnya kadar baru ialah RM600 untuk warga emas. Untuk individu bujang, sekarang kadarnya 300, kita naik lagi dengan RM75, maka jumlahnya ialah RM375.
In total, this year's financial allocation for SKAS implementation in 2026 has been increased to RM680 million, up from the original RM543.8 million. The aid will be distributed in 3 phases throughout the year to ensure continuous support for recipients via the Sarawak government's e-wallet platform, SPay Global. The first phase was disbursed on March 10, while the second and third phases are scheduled for May 15 and November 10 respectively.
Apa yang kita perlu ialah kita boleh membuat dan berjumpa dengan pihak LSDN, kerana mereka yang ada mempunyai senarai, dan kalau tercicir bolehlah didaftarkan. Daftar semula lah. Kemungkinan memang ada tercicir, kerana ini adalah berdasarkan kepada senarai LSDN. Jadi bagi kita ikut senarai, dan sebab itu kita anggarkan lebih kurang 900,000 yang menerima SKAS yang kita tambah. Dan kalau yang tercicir ni rasa je tak ada, sila datang ke SDN. Kerana ada list rahmah. Kita mesti ikut list dia.
In addition, he says the government will introduce further initiatives to support small traders, including a 50% discount on rental for markets and stalls owned by local authorities.
Right, the Sarawak government is also slashing electricity bills by 25% for residential customers as part of the push to tackle the rising costs of living. The Premier says this new discount mirrors the relief provided during the previous Sarawak Ku Sayang Special Assistance Package, aimed at putting more money back into the pockets of families.
Oleh itu, sebagai kerajaan yang sentiasa peka dan peduli terhadap nasib rakyat, kita akan memberikan diskaun khas elektrik untuk semua pengguna domestik sebanyak 25%. Bermula April sehingga Disember 2026. Dijangka seramai 714,557 pengguna domestik akan menikmati manfaat ini dengan pembayaran sebanyak 188.1 juta yang sepenuhnya akan ditanggung oleh Kerajaan Sarawak.
Meanwhile, Sarawak's foresight in transitioning to alternative energy is paying off. By pivoting early towards sustainable power sources, the state has effectively built a buffer against the volatility of rising diesel prices, securing a more resilient and stable economic future.
Kalau tidak, rumah panjang akan petang. Kalaupun ada duit, whether you got stock or not, diesel. Dan juga di kampung kita luar bandar, kita dah menggunakan saris. I think, saya setuju mungkin ada perang ke tak tu. Tapi kita dah ada fikir untuk menukarkan tenaga kita kepada tenaga yang boleh diperbaharui. Negeri lain masih pakai diesel. Kita the last one, Lawas dengan Lembang pakai diesel. Lawas dah kita link ke state grid bulan 12. Dan Limbang insyaAllah bulan Julai.
He also explained that the diversification of energy sources such as solar, hydro, biomass and gas turbines has been a key factor in strengthening Sarawak's energy resilience during the current crisis.
Right, U.S. President Donald Trump is signaling possible Israel-Lebanon talks, but Beirut denies any contact. As doubts grow, Iran is also warning of escalation as Washington hits back with sanctions, while all oil fears ripple globally. For more details, we have Atika Norman on the case.
Thanks, Yusuf. All right, U.S. President Donald Trump says the leaders of Israel and Lebanon are set to speak in what could be a historic first, though neither side confirms the plan. The announcement came as Washington pushes to ease hostilities following rare ambassador-level talks held this week in the U.S. Capitol. Lebanon was drawn into the conflict on March 2nd after Iran-backed Hezbollah launches attacks on Israel. Since then, Israel strikes kill more than 2,000 people and displace over 1 million, while ground forces move into southern Lebanon despite global calls for a ceasefire. Trump says the talks aim to create breathing room after the first such diplomatic contact since 1993, but offers no further details. Meanwhile, Lebanon says it has no knowledge of any planned talks with Israel, contradicting Trump's claims. An official source states Beirut has not been informed of any contact through official channels. Israel also declines to comment, adding to the uncertainty. Analysts note there has never been direct contact between the leaders of the two countries, with past engagement limited to diplomats or short-lived political moments. Tensions escalate further as a senior Iranian advisor warns that U.S. troops could be taken hostage if Washington launches a ground invasion. Hardliner Mohsen Rezai says Iran could seize thousands of hostages and retaliate against naval forces in the Strait of Hormuz, a key global energy route. The United States responds by announcing new sanctions targeting Iran's oil transport network. More than 24 individuals, companies and tankers are affected, including those linked to shipping magnate Mohammad Hossein Shamkhani, son of senior security figure Ali Shamkhani and advisor to Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, both killed on February 28. Washington says the move is part of an intensified campaign to pressure Iranian elites accused of profiting amid the crisis. As global oil concerns grow, Australia confirms the purchase of 100 million litres of diesel to strengthen domestic supply. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the shipments from Brunei and South Korea are secured under new emergency powers that allow the government to underwrite fuel deliveries. The move aims to cushion the impact of potential disruptions linked to escalating tensions in the Middle East. And that's all I have for the Middle East. Back to you, Yusuf.
Thank you, Atika. Now, Malaysia will be prioritizing meeting its domestic fuel requirements before supplying any access to Australia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim confirms that Petronas has guaranteed enough fuel for the nation, with only the remaining surplus being channeled to trusted international partners.
We import gas, LNG, from Australia. And they have assured of us of this supply and to honor the commitments and the agreement. So we have to also then to ensure that their requirements beyond what we can make available will be equally honored.
At a joint press conference with visiting Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese today, Anwar notes that such arrangements reflect the importance of negotiations and mutual understanding between friendly nations, particularly as both countries rely on each other for strategic resources. Malaysia, he says, imports gas, including LNG, from Australia, which has reaffirmed its commitment to honor existing supply agreements, while Malaysia, in turn, will ensure that Australia's requirements are fulfilled once domestic needs are secured.
At the same time, Malaysia and Australia today signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, aimed at expanding market access and strengthening food security cooperation between the two countries. Anwar says the new partnership between JAKIM and Australia's Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry will help ensure a sustainable food supply amid global uncertainties.
We also agreed to deepen cooperation in agriculture, including sharing expertise in production and irrigation to ensure a sustainable food supply for both Malaysians and Australians. Let no one mistake the weight of what we signed today. When supply chains are disrupted and food prices are increasing and rising.
Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, says the cooperation between Malaysia and Australia will have a direct impact on the people, particularly as supply chains remain disrupted and food prices continue to increase. Australia is a key economic partner for Malaysia, ranking as the country's 12th largest trading partner in 2025, with total bilateral trade valued at 78.63 billion ringgit.
Now back in Sarawak, Marine Police Interstate have shut down an illegal diesel siphoning ring after intercepting a tanker loaded with 16,000 litres of fuel on the Baram River. Commander Abdul Rahman Mat Hassan says the strategic bust is part of a targeted crackdown on the systemic theft of the nation's subsidized diesel.
Terdapat sebanyak 16,000 liter minyak yang disimpan dalam kapal tersebut. Kapal tersebut dinaiki oleh 2 orang warga tempatan dan 1 warga negara asing. Dan pemeriksaan mendapati mereka gagal mengukuhkan sebarang dokumen berkaitan pemilikan minyak diesel tersebut. Dan salah seorang daripada kru bot tersebut tidak memiliki permit kerja yang sah. Mereka ada pasport tapi permit kerja untuk bekerja di kapal ni tidak ada. So kita menahan kapal tersebut ekoran daripada kegagalan mereka mengukuhkan dokumen sah. 16 kali dengan kapal sekali 2.6 juta ringgit termasuk kapal.
Di kapal jenis apa?
Tanker tapi saiz besar kecil lah yang memang untuk mengisi minyak.
He confirmed that 2 individuals are under arrest to assist investigations under the Control of Supplies Act 1961 and the Immigration Act.
Get all the updates you need all in one app. TVS Inspire brings you live updates on events, news and programs. Available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. TVS Inspire, world on your screen, anytime, anywhere. And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Yusuf Shukri. Thank you for watching and good night.